Today, my friends, I have for you a guide to using EDrags. We only have 3 examples, but we're going to be trying our best to teach you guys this strategy or just using EDrags at Town Hall 11. But we're also going to be talking about base identification and also the right siege that you need to bring when you're using EDrags. So, Electro Dragons. This is a pretty common strategy. I mean, Mass Edrag, a lot of people love to do it. But here is where something that you have to think about. For one, Mass Edrag doesn't mean that you're just bringing EDrags. You're also bringing balloons, you're bringing other troops to help you with the funnel. So for those of you who are just sticking to using Mass Edrag, then I would highly suggest that you guys really take a look at the army composition. Right down here, you'll see the army composition right here, and you'll see everything that he's bringing. So the biggest thing that you need to make sure that you're doing in terms of army composition is you know that, of course, you need some cleanup troops, you need some funneling troops too, like baby dragons. Those are still really good. Be very creative because you don't always need like 9 EDrags or 8 EDrags. Even 6 to 7 are actually enough to actually really wreck a base. This is where you've got to be very creative. Make sure that you're not just using a bunch of EDrags and expecting to get a triple. Another thing, the use of a stone slammer. I've actually seen this a lot in ladder. It's the idea that you're using a wall wrecker with it, which is actually the wrong way to use this strategy. More specifically, if you are going to be using this with any siege, you got to use it with the stone slammer. You can use it with the blimp too if you want, but the slammer is a heck of a lot better, and it really just allows you to get more value. I mean, would you rather have something that goes for the town hall and tanks for absolutely nothing except for like expos and archer towers and maybe Teslas? Then definitely using the stone slammer is better because it tanks for almost everything. And another thing is it kind of acts like a lava hound. It's not really a lava hound, but it does act like one, as well as the fact that it does damage to defenses. It goes from defense to defense. And realistically, it's a great siege to bring. You can have an extra EDrag in there or loons or something like that. So there's a lot of variety that you can do with this. In terms of base identification, what are you looking for? Well, let's kind of explain that just really quickly. You see this area. So this is This is an easy chain. This, however, if I show you with a blue, that is not a chain. So you can only chain buildings you can't chain them between 2 tiles. However, if they are 1 tile or touching, like right here, then those can be chained. So that means that what you're looking at here is you can chain these structures into here. And remember that chain, the EDrag chain, goes up to 5 structures. That means that what we're going to be doing is we want to try and look at the base as much as possible and ask ourselves, can this base for the most part be chained? And of course, there are some areas here that are definitely 2 tiles, but a fair chunk of the base does still also have a 1-2 touching sort of, with those defenses. You're going to see a lot of chain value in this replay, and that is the main thing. So you really want to take a look at where those areas that you can't really chain into and how you can really try to take advantage of these type of bases. So you got to make sure though that you are trying to get just enough value for your entire Electro Dragon attack. So I'm just showing you guys the spacing there. So I'm basically showing you guys that 2 tile spacing for a lot of the buildings. Now, not all of them will, have that, but you guys can notice that there are a lot of those 2 tile gaps. But the biggest thing here is just understanding that, they don't always need to be, 2 tiles for you not to think, all right, I don't need the EDrag this. But that is just going to be the thing that you really need to take a look at the base and you need to ask yourself, all right, can I use a Mass Electro Dragon, and how quickly can I do this? So the idea there, like you see right here, we're using a couple balloons to take out this archer tower. The main reason is that we don't want there to be any seeking air mines, which is the reason why we're using it there, but we're also trying to clear that section. So we're creating a funnel with one EDrag, and then we're using the baby dragon and the Sui hero down this way. So what this is giving you is it's now giving you pathing that looks like this. You're now entering into the base like this. So it's pretty simple pathing when you're entering into the base like this. That is when you could actually drop in the Stone Slammer as well. So you'll see that we're being a little bit hesitant, but once we know, we can drop in the Stone Slammer. What this now gives us access to is, if we watch here, we're using the rage spells, but we're not using them just spamming them in. We're using them very strategically. Like you saw right there, the EDrags completely destroyed the baby dragon. What you'll see from here as well is we use the Grand Warden to protect the other sort of group of those EDrags. So we want to make sure that we're using the freeze spells and getting freeze value. Like you saw right there, these three buildings are going to give us freeze value. Another thing you'll see right here is that we're freezing up the enemy queen and the Inferno along with the Warden. And you'll see right there is that is also chain value. We're going to get some chain from the Electro Dragons here that are targeting onto the multi-Inferno. You can just see as everything's going through, there's a lot of chain going through. Even if it only hits 2 structures, it's still going to be considered value. You really want to get chain. Now, even though this may not be the best example of this, I still have a couple more examples. We still have one more mass Edrag, and then we've got another one using bat spells. That's going to be giving you guys probably the best example using Electro Dragons. But I want to keep it last because it's something a little bit different that isn't just pure mass Edrag, and instead using a bat spell portion after using the EDrags. But with that being said, guys, let us go ahead, and after this EDrag sort of takes down that wizard tower, let's move on into the next mass EDrag replay. So we've got another example, and the big thing here is that, you know, there's of course going to be those sort of 2 tile gaps, as I've said, but you'll see that we have a dead zone here, a big dead zone at that. So what we can take advantage of is we can Sui hero this section here, getting rid of the air defense, create a funnel here with an EDrag, and then we can actually send in a Lava Hound, and then send the EDrags in like this. So that's going to be the idea of why we are going to be using the EDrags like this. You notice that we only have 5 EDrags, or I kind of blocked it there. We have 5 Electro Dragons being used. That means that we want to get as much value from the EDrags as possible. So this is going to be a very good example to see what happens when a large portion of your EDrags do go all the way on the outside. So that's going to be a big thing that I want you guys to understand here. But just remember, when you're doing base identification, look at where the air sweepers are pointing. In the other one, you saw that they were pointing up, and I think there was another one pointing down. So this one, they're both pointing in the same direction, which is right here, which means we can get more value if we enter in right behind them. That is going to be the idea, and that's really how you guys would actually use this strategy. So you'll see from here is that we are going to be starting with the funnel on either side, but we are going to get some extra percentage here by using the minion, and that's still going to allow us to create a little bit of a funnel, which can actually still work very well just by using 2 camp space. You'll see that we have a giant being used, and the idea that we have a giant is mainly because we want to make sure that our queen is being tanked for against the cannon. So we don't want to pop her ability too early, which is the main reason why we're not using the king just yet either. So you'll see that what we're doing is we are using that queen just to pick off as many of the structures as possible. Then we have the EDrag on the opposite side, and that's going to allow us to create the funnel there. Then what you'll see is now we're going to be sending in our EDrag portion. We haven't dropped the king yet, so we can definitely use him to continue the funnel. What you'll see from right here is that now we're dropping in the Stone Slammer and we're dropping in the king. So as the EDrags are moving in here, we've got the Stone Slammer that's going to move in this way, and then we have the king that's going to continue the funnel down this way. We're cutting off that funnel in order for the EDrags to stay in and take out a large portion. Remember, we got to freeze over those defenses like you see right there for those loons, and just raging up our EDrags as they go through the base. Raging them up so that then they can really quickly take care of different units as well as the fact as they can also be able to sort of get through the base. You'll see a haste spell being used with a couple balloons from our own camp instead of from the CC, so you're still getting value. And here's a big thing, here's a big pointer. If there's a Lava Hound in the CC, make sure that you don't lure it out, because it really can just be a really big nuisance, especially if your EDrags are not ready, or if it, you know, especially if they're getting weak. So definitely, really don't try to worry about EDrag, or about a Lava Hound CC. If you see any other CC, like you saw before with the baby dragon, wasn't that difficult. You didn't even need to use a poison. But the idea is, if there's an EDrag, then you may want to bring a poison spell. So -1 freeze and bring a poison. That's probably going to net you more value than anything. So most of the base has been gutted out. So you may think this is probably going to be a 2-star due to how these EDrags are moving on the outside. However, we can still save the attack because we still have 1 freeze and 1 rage. That is really all you guys need to really understand. It's just making sure that you can get value from your EDrag chains by using that rage spell and freeze spells more effectively. So you'll see right here, the EDrags there get a lot of value, and then all we have to do is freeze up the last defense, and that's about it. So that gives you guys 2 really solid examples using Mass Edrag. But now let's move on into our final example using the EDrag into bats. So for the final example, we've got Electro DragBat. So this strategy is still very strong. Don't get me wrong. But again, remember, like I said towards the beginning of the video, EDrags should only be used against compact bases. This is an example of one. There's not too many two tile gaps, basically. So if you really take a look at the entire base, there's really not many, and there's only like one big sort of dead zone area. So as far as I can tell from here, it's definitely very weak to EDrags. These are the bases that you should be looking for. There's no real magic to using EDrags. You're not going to be able to hit a base with a ton of 2 tile gaps and expect a 3-star. So this is really where you got to find the right base. Base identification is very important. EDrags are no different. So this is the reason why I really want you guys to sort of understand. And I would share this with any of your clanmates who are still spamming EDrags, using the wrong CC and all of that. I'm going to say this. I've seen a lot of people with EDrags and Wall Wrecker. It doesn't work. It really doesn't work. The Stone Slimer's one heck of a lot better. And you can get a lot more from the Stone Slimer than you can with a Wall Wrecker. The Wall Wrecker goes right to the Town Hall, but at least what the Stone Slimer does, it takes care of defenses, and you can also have an extra EDrag or even balloons in there. It's really going to be up to you. But still, that's really what you guys need to sort of think about. So, with this being said, what are we sort of doing with this? Think of this like a regular DragBat, but we're actually using a Sui hero. So we use the Queen and an Ice Golem, we use a Super Wall Breaker, which guarantees us to break through the wall without having to use a freeze. So that then what this allows us to do is we can send in our Ice Golem, which will still get some of that freeze value, and we can still kill off the enemy CC, or I'm sorry, the enemy Queen, and we can also still take care of the Inferno. Now you'll see from here is that we've already created the funnel over here, so we've definitely created this funnel here and this funnel here, which now allows us to get into the base using a Lava Hound and then a bunch of those EDrags with the Stone Slimer right behind. So this is how you should be placing them in. And then remember that you're using the rage spells as often as possible. Now you may already notice, why is the CC not coming out? Well, it's because that enemy CC is, of course, maybe like a Lava Hound or something that you don't really want the EDrags to be hitting. So that's going to be the main thing I really want you guys to understand. So you'll see from here is that when you're going through the base, look at how much chain value that the EDrags get on bases like this. And see how they're able to clear like almost 95% of the splash buildings. There's only one left. So that shows that this is still a very strong strategy. And then all you really have to do is just use your bats. And you can see all of those bats together can really provide a lot of value for the rest of your attack. So with that being said, guys, that is EDrags. I showed you guys 2 Mass Edrags and this strategy here, so if you guys are interested in using EDrags with bat spells, be my guest. But the idea is very similar to DragBat. You're looking for splash, so keep that in mind. But with that being said, guys, that is going to do it for the video. I hope you guys sort of learned something even from just these 3 examples, but this kind of gives you guys a really good idea of how you guys can use EDrags here at Town Hall 11. But with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Remember to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you guys don't miss anything, and also to join the Corrupt fam. Feel free to also go ahead and, join my community Discord, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, or Twitch, and Twitch, and or follow or subscribe to me on there. And if you want, feel free to go ahead and check any of the merch that I have from Playmakers Gaming. There is a link in the description. Along with that, feel free to go ahead and join as a channel member if you guys want to support me even further. With that being said, as well, feel free to join any of the clans I'm covering within the game. All the clans I'm covering, all their Discords are in the description below. So, with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Corrupt, signing out.